Hi guys, this is Rainer1903 and I'm coming at you with another deck profile for Vanguard, and this time it's going to be for my Angel Feathers. I played one guy at Nats who was running Angel Feather, and it was the most difficult game I played all weekend, and it kind of inspired me to try and build it again. I didn't like the build I had before, didn't feel it actually did anything, so having seen his build and having seen him play, it actually inspired me to want to build it again. So here it is, and I've finished it now. Well, just about. I'm hoping that I can tweak it a little bit, but this is my current build anyway. So we start off with Hope Child Turiel. It's like any standard thing. When an Angel Feather rides it, you may call it the rear guard. If you have an Angel Feather Vanguard, you can use its ability, which is counterblast 1, put it into the soul, choose another Angel Feather from your hand, put it into your damage, and choose a card from your damage and put it into your hand. Which may not sound particularly good because you're having to lose your 5k boost to do it, but when you've got all your cards that gain boosts from doing this, it gets very good. And when you've got rotating heal triggers, it gets very good. And when you've got your counterblasted damage, you tend to add to your hand. So whatever damage you counterblast, you just add it straight back to your hand, so you don't actually counterblast really. It's just asking you for you have it face up damage before you use it. It's a very good card. That's a starting Vanguard anyway. And then we run 4 of that crit, 4 of the other crit, and 4 draw, and 4 heals. It's a fairly standard lineup. I like it. It's how I go about building most of my decks now. And then now we get on to the really good cards of the deck. We've got Millionaire Pegasus. Ability, it's only 7k, but when a card's put into your damage zone, if you have an Angel Feather Vanguard, this gains 2k to the end of the turn. So when you think about it, when you've got your 10k Vanguards that have the same ability, with this behind it, oops, I'll just throw my cards everywhere, it means you've got hitting 21k columns, which is absolutely massive. And if you do start doing 2s and 3s of swapping damage about, you're getting up to numbers of 25s and 29s, which that's without triggers. So it's absolutely crazy when you get stuff like that going off. So if you do hit triggers, you tend to win. So I run 4 of that because that's the best grade 1 there is for the deck for this build. 4 perfect guard. Because you're running draw triggers, you kind of need it. And also because you're damage swapping, you can always, if you don't have any, if you know you're not going to have enough to guard, you can always put it to damage and take a 10k shield or something instead. Plenty of options with the damage swapping, so we run 4 of them. This is such a good card in this deck. We've got 3 of the Lancet Shooter, which is the 7k counterblast 1 to give a power boost of 1k. And that might not sound so good, but when you think that with all the damage swapping, it means that you've actually got no worries about damage being face up or face down, because you can take whatever's face down straight back to your hand with their abilities. So you can counterblast 2 with this, that makes it 9k. So with your 12k Vanguard after or 12k rear guard after it's used its ability, that's 21. You could counterblast with this 3 times, that makes it 10k. So behind the 10k rear guard, that's still 20. I just think it's absolutely ridiculously good. It's much better than just the 8k vanilla, because it can go to 9. The fact that it can go to 9 makes it really good. So I run 3 just because I like the other grade 1s I run. Although, I think, I'm not sure with the numbers of these, but it's Battle Cupid Nausea. It's such a good card, but I never seem to draw it at the right time. Its ability is, when it's placed in the Guardian Circle, if you have an Angel Feather Vanguard, you may choose an Angel Feather from your hand and put it into your damage zone. And if you do, choose a card from your damage zone and put it into your hand. Which might not sound that great, but if you block for 5k, there will be an opportunity where you just want to block for 5k, and you swap a card from hand to damage, and vice versa. That means that your Vanguard is also going to get +2. So it means that you're guarding for an instant 7. And when most of your opponent's attacks are only going to be hitting 15, 16 or 20 or 21, it's actually like getting a trigger. But I never seem to get it at the right time for that to happen. But it's a really good card, so I'd still just run the 2. Just because I love running this next card. It is so good. Doctroid Micros. This is one of the new cards from set 7. It's one of the generic Counterblast 1, placed on Vanguard or Rearguard. If you have an Angel Feather Vanguard, you can pay the cost. If you do, put the top card of your deck into the damage zone. At the beginning of your end phase, shuffle a card from your damage into your deck. So basically, it lets you get off a limit break early, as a potential limit break early, I should say, or it can give your stuff plus 2k, which is really good. And it also means that I've done it so often that if I take an early damage and it's a trigger, I end up using this ability to put it back in the deck. So if I lose a crit early or lose a draw early, I'm not too bothered about the heal because I can call it and get it shuffled back into the deck. If I lose a crit or draw very early, I can easily put it back in deck with this, which is really good. The only issue is that it does get a bit dead late game, but then you just start using it for guarding or for perfect defensing. Right, now on to grade 2s. I run 4 Core Memory Armors, and this is the standard. When its attack hits, Counterblast 2 and draw a card. Which I think when you're running 7k boosters and 6k boosters, it's either hitting 15 or 16 with no triggers and no damage swapping. And it means they have to guard against stuff they don't want to. They don't want to guard against this. If it was any other just generic 9k, they'd take the damage or lose the rear guard. But they've got to guard it to stop you from drawing. And when you've so often you can unflip damage just because of the swap. So it's really good. You can use it way more times than in any other deck for the same ability. And then this is so good. Can't believe how good this card is. Millionaire Pegasus. When a card's put into your damage zone, if you have an Angel Feather Vanguard, it gains 2k to the end of the turn. It's the same as the grade 1, apart from it's 9k. So if you have the grade 2 and the grade 1 in the same column, if you take a damage, or you swap a damage or anything like that, they go to a 20k column. And this goes to 11. I remember one game where I had 3 in the front row of all the guys that gain attack when you take a damage, and I think I got double critted, and I managed to get 3 damage triggers checks, and they were all I think it was a 2 crit and a draw, and I managed to get all my front row up to over 21, and he couldn't do any more damage, just because I'd taken 3 damage and 3 were triggers. So I put a trigger on each one, and he couldn't hit anything. It was really amusing. And then I'm not sure about the rest of them. I don't think there's anything else that is particularly good for Angel Feathers at the moment for grade 2s. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm welcome to criticism of this deck because I haven't been running for that long, but I don't think that there is anything else that I particularly like. This I don't like. I don't like it at all. If it was 9k it'd be fine, but it's not. It's 8k. I very rarely use this. These are the 3 that I'd happily take out for something else. I'm just running this because I don't have a third Love Machine Gun, but I don't like Love Machine Gun anyway, so if anyone's got any suggestions of what I can put in for the Love Machine Guns and Barbiel, feel free to comment and give me a shout, because I really don't like these at all, but I'm running them at the moment anyway. And now on to the grade 3s, and the bling starts to happen. We've got 3 SP Shamsiel. That one's an SP. That one's an SP. And that one's an SP. Just in case anyone's going to have a go at me. And its ability is really good. It's Limit Break 4. When this unit attacks a Vanguard, you may choose a card from an Angel Feather from your hand, put it into your damage zone, and then swap a card. And then it's got another ability. When a card is put into your damage zone as a Vanguard, this unit gets plus 2k. So basically, as a Vanguard, with the grade 1 that I was on about earlier, it's going to be 21 with its limit break. Or if you can use a Doctroid or something along those lines, it's going to be more. It could even be 25 with 2 of these kind of abilities. So it's very, very good. Very, very powerful. And it can help you recycle triggers, get rid of dead cards in hand. I mean, once you get one of these in play, the other 2 are as good as dead. You don't want more. So you can chuck them in your damage and take triggers for guarding with, or perfect guards, or stuff you need for rear guards. It's absolutely brilliant. So we run 3 of them. I only run 3 because it's useless as a rear guard. So I run 4 of this one, which is the Phoenix Calamity Flame. It's the same as the grade 1 and the grade 2 I was on about earlier. When you take a damage, it gets +2, and it's 10k base, and this is a Vanguard or a Rearguard, so it makes it a little bit better than Shamsiel for a Rearguard ability. So basically you can have this with the grade 1 Ray Pegasus, 1000 Ray Pegasus, and it's going to be hitting 21 with Shamsiel's Limit Break on. Or when you start to take damage, this starts to gain attack as well, so if they decide, no, I don't want to hit the Vanguard, this is still going to have 12k if you've taken a damage already, which it can make a big difference in some matchups. So that's my build. If you can have a look. If you don't like it, you don't like it, but that's my build. I really enjoy playing it. I think it's the most skilled deck that I've got at the moment. Kagero kind of runs itself, Oracles kind of runs itself. This actually takes a lot of thought to get the right combos off, which I think is really good, because it actually makes you a better player, to having to think about everything in depth more. So I really like this deck. I'm wanting to do more with it, but as I say, I'm stuck for the grade 2s at the moment. So if you've liked my video, give it a like, comment, rate, subscribe. I'll have a look at your videos if you want. Thanks for watching, and this is Rainer1903.